code is written, or would any time they like spent the night in your house be violating the code the way it's written now?
Technically, currently, the way it's written, that part of the ordinance didn't change, so they would be forbidden to be in the home. It's part of our zoning as well, with regards to the setbacks of the coop and that sort of thing. So it would take some tweaking, but I don't think that there's a huge issue there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other discussion? Yeah. So if there isn't any discussion, I'm going to move. Did you want to talk before that? Sure. Why don't we move the whole thing so it's before us? You want to go ahead and do that?
So moved.
Okay. All right. So then we can entertain amendments, and you also should have before you my amendment drafted on prohibition of bullhooks. And this would be to add a new section, and I don't know, I could read it for the folks here if I have a copy. So there's a list in 64.90 of prohibited acts, and this would be adding a new section. I believe it would be lettered K. We're going to make sure I have the lettering right. It gets very complicated in these ordinances with the numbers and the letters. Bullhooks prohibited. It shall be a misdemeanor for any person who houses, possesses, or is in direct contact with an elephant to use a bullhook, ankus, baseball bat, axe handle, pitchfork, or similar device designed to inflict pain for the purpose of training or controlling the behavior of an elephant. Use prohibited by this subdivision includes brandishing, exhibiting, or displaying such devices in the presence of an elephant. This provision shall not become effective, until, I think you guys, you're going to have to correct that, or shall become effective on January 1, 2017. We'll have to correct that. It's wrong on the sheet. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm not opposed to the amendment. I guess I'll just throw it out there in terms of kind of a technical opinion on it, and then maybe I'll ask staff a question and go from there. But I worry about making exhaustive lists or being too specific when it comes to language in the ordinance around actually calling out individual things. I tend to think more about the outcome. In this case, we don't want animals to suffer. In this case, elephants, we don't want them to suffer. So my question would be directed to staff. Under 64.90 with prohibited acts, would right now the way that this is written with sub-item number 4, cruelty, no person shall willfully instigate or in any way further any act of cruelty to any animal or animals or any act tending to produce cruelty to animals, would bull hooks constitute cruelty today? So would they essentially, with this ordinance change, already be prohibited?
Mr. Chair, Committee Member Johnson, I understand that point. Essentially, it would require under the cruelty that there be injury. It's, I think, with what they're trying to present, it also deals with the psychological part of the bullhook. So theoretically, yes, that would cover it, but I think technically it probably would be a problem getting that through court.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that's helpful to know in that case. That I appreciate the amendment and I have to support it.
Councilmember Bender, did you have a question on this amendment or comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to thank you and the author for your work and staff for all of the really extensive engagement. I'm very supportive of all of these changes, including the bullhook amendment. I think, it's time to modernize our standards and really make sure that we're keeping up with the best practices in treating animals humanely and making sure that as we continue to normalize urban agriculture and kind of return our food systems to a more traditional kind of living together with animals, it's really important in an urban environment to make sure that both companion animals, performance animals, animals that are being grown for food purposes are all treated humanely. And I think that this is a really great update to make sure that we're hitting all of those points. And again, I'm very supportive.
I don't see any other comments. I just want to note that my intention with having a specific effective date on this was to try to reach outside of the current contract, because there is one circus operator right now that operates annually typically in the city, or has for years. And I haven't had an opportunity to talk with them about the contract, so I was, that's a placeholder right now in terms of January 2017. It's possible it isn't necessary, or it could be extended even further. I want to, it's my understanding after doing some research that it's unlikely we'll find anybody who will want to provide elephants to any circus if they can't use some of these tools. So that's, I'm trying to be sensitive to that issue. So that could be adjusted. The rest of the ordinance can certainly become effective sooner, and I think that's the intention there. So with that said, the amendment, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That amendment passes. I'd like us to consider, and I'd like to move, and Councilmember Johnson, you can make some comments beforehand, to hold this over, as I said before, one cycle, just so we can answer some of the other questions. I also noticed a couple places where there may be some minor amendments that we could potentially make, mostly having to do with fowl, and if they could ever come indoors, but also even in the definition of fowl, we talk about domesticated animals, and then we say it shall exclude domestic. So it seems like there's a significant number of residents who have honed in on a little bit of how we're defining this, and I thought we could maybe do some work. So I was thinking we could hold it in committee, but I also want to respect the wishes of the committee. And just because I'm doing that, I don't want anybody to think I'm saying we didn't do extensive community engagement, do a fantastic job, enormous work on this. Council members were briefed on this. So I think that staff and everyone who's been involved has done great work with the ordinance. Part of this actually has to do as much with our committee clerks on vacation. We had a holiday and our meeting came late, and there was it's just to get our committee work done right. I'd love to have one more session. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I agree with holding it over a cycle. Obviously, this is a lot of pages, and I don't think it was posted out on the website with that much advance notice. So just to give the public a chance to read through this and be able to provide any feedback. And, I'll have comments as well at our next meeting on this. So I'll try to be brief, but I just am so impressed with our staff and all the work that has gone into this. Oftentimes we look around at what a lot of other cities are doing. We'll look at Portland or Seattle or Denver, San Francisco, and other places and try to import ideas of what's happening. But in this case, our staff really took on this challenge and considered how we improve animal outcomes across the board in our city, and is setting a new high bar, something that is totally unique in Minneapolis, nationally in terms of this ordinance, this language, and really evolving the level of care and thought put into animal control to a new level. And it's something that I believe other cities are going to look at what we've done here, and they're going to adopt it. The other piece too is not only did you set a high bar in terms of this ordinance, but you set a high bar in terms of the process, the level of engagement, all the different groups, all the different stakeholders, all the community meetings, the attention to detail, the great care put into it. I mean, it is just so impressive, and I think all city staff, all departments are going to look at this work and say, geez, how are we going to match that when doing changes? Because you just did a phenomenal job. So greatly, greatly appreciate it. I know animals are a topic that so many people out in my ward and across the city care about. We love our animals. Thanks for including a picture of Rosie in the presentation. We love our animals, and people care about them. And so this matters. This work matters a lot, and it's going to change, affect, countless animal lives in terms of the outcomes. So just phenomenal job, phenomenal work. Thank you.
Thank you. So I assume Rosie is your pet? Okay, just to clarify that. Yeah, and I appreciate that too. Another reason why this ordinance is so challenging to deal with is because there isn't a strike-through comparison that we see in our packets, or probably won't even be online, I'm not sure. So we have to go back to the old ordinance and try to see, oh, what's gone, what's different, and what's taken out. So just as trying to do our job as council members, it's been a little bit challenging. With that, I'm going to move to postpone this one cycle and keep it in committee. See no discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We'll do that and we'll be back next time. And I encourage folks to stay engaged and involved. And this might also give a chance for staff to meet with people and answer further questions and reassure them on some aspects as we move forward. And we're going to make sure that this is posted online now and that we have the amendment included there as well. So people will have a chance to respond to that. All right. Excellent. And with that, then I think our business is concluded and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.